Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about blade traps of Greatswords and why pretty much no one plays it. I did a build with it and I just quit the build, partially my fault, but for the most part it's the skill's fault. So I want to talk about what it is, why it doesn't work, and I guess how it could be fixed. Okay, so let's start with the skill. The skill has 8-second cooldown and it can only be used with two-handed swords. That is important. 8-second cooldown, it's not the biggest problem, you can reduce it, but the main problem is that there is no other trap that you can switch into. The normal blade trap does not work with the two-handed swords, so there's nothing you can switch into. And for clear speed, this 8-second cooldown, I have 157% increased CDR. 157% increased CDR. And my cooldown is still 3.135 seconds. So it's still over 3 seconds cooldown. And it feels extremely annoying and very limiting. This build is essentially allergic to speed. You cannot clear faster. You literally cannot. Like, even if you go faster, you cannot. It goes on cooldown and there's nothing you can do. You run to enemies and then you have to run around like chicken waiting for it to go off cooldown. And yes, you could get also more CDR on boots, on belt, and balance of terror and extra up to 25% CDR if you have used temporal chain in the last 10 seconds. But even then, your cooldown would only be, let's say we add an extra 55% CDR with all combined, with everything combined. It's not the maximum, but it would still be 2.5 seconds, a bit more than 2.5 seconds. That is not enough for a single trap to feel good for clear speed, even if you cover like a big AoE. By the way, AoE is kind of incorrect in this case, in this example, because the sword that I'm using is Rakiata's Dance, and it's one of the most massive swords visually, and it doesn't visually reach as far as it shows. It actually is a bit shorter reach. So it kind of makes it look like it's reaching its bigger AoE than it actually is. Now, this is not really a big problem when you are moving slowly. My idea was also built around this inability to clear faster using Ralakesh Impatience boots, which have no movement speed. So I'm kind of moving slowly. So the clear speed isn't really a big problem because I cannot really move much faster. But I am also using the Tides of Time with the Quicksilver to increase my movement speed to compensate for that. The movement speed isn't that bad anymore, but if I move any faster, even at this speed, if there aren't that many monsters, you just throw one trap and kind of move on, then throw another trap, move on, and by the time you throw the last trap, like, it already has cooldown and you have another charge. However, if there's a lot more enemies and they are surrounding you, you have to throw multiple traps in different places, and if you move on and then there's another big enemy pack and you have to throw a couple traps again, if you do that couple times, you quickly run into cooldown problems. And I have 4 charges, and essentially you only get one charge every 3.15 seconds. So you throw a trap and you have to wait 3.15 seconds, and there's pretty much nothing you can do about that. There's no other trap you can throw. You can use like a Void Sphere to pull enemies in, but the enemy is not going to be that far away anyway, and you cannot pull from too far away. So what do? All the other cooldown traps are spells, and Blade Trap is an attack. So you cannot just switch to other traps, to other cooldown traps, and you cannot switch to the Blade Trap, the normal version, because it requires either one hand or dual wield. You cannot use it with two-handed. So this feels like they put it in without. It's like half of the puzzle, and the other half they may introduce sometime in the future. So it's missing either the cooldown is too long. It should be like, I don't know, 6 seconds at most, maybe even 5 seconds. Or we lack another trap skill that we can switch into. It feels like someone made this with the Path of Exile 2 in mind, where you have like all different options you can switch into and you have to combine different skills, and like everything is slower paced. This just does not, absolutely does not work in current PoE at all. We need either more traps or lower cooldown. If you look at PoE Ninja and what builds are people doing, if you search for Blade Trap of Greatswords, currently only 5 shows up that use Blade Trap of Greatswords. And the highest damage is not even high. The highest damage is 327,000 average damage, which is kind of low, right? And it may not have all the conditions enabled. Now, the build that I have is like 292,000 average hit damage. So it's not that far from the highest damage build in PoE Ninja. And my damage wasn't great. This, by the way, PoE build is not the current build because I quit before I could reach that level and before optimizing everything. So this is kind of what I would aim for. All I would need to do is just level up more, level up gems. I'm only using one awakened gem. So I would just need to level these gems, add quality, and buy two jewels that are not that expensive, like double crit, multi, and life, and that's it. And I would reach that kind of damage. And now the build that I'm doing, I kind of underestimated how much tankiness I would need. Well, not really. I just kind of thought that I could get away with a bit less tankiness because I have pretty much 100% crit chance, and the crit chance, by the way, is rolled per trap throw. If the trap rolls a crit, all the hits will crit or none of them will crit. So you kind of need to reach really high crit chance for it to feel like smooth and consistent. So I have pretty much 100% crit chance almost, but that's with the Assassin's Mark. And I thought that I'm gonna be using Rakiata's dance, so it's gonna be doing lighting and cold, it's gonna be freezing enemies, it's gonna be shocking enemies. I can use the Taming ring, I can use the Blizzard Crown, which has a lot of cold damage and increases enemy cold resistance, which is good for me because it inverts with the Rakiata's dance sword. And I thought because I'm going to be freezing enemies, it's going to be fine. I don't need that much tankiness, using the Tides of Time to, like I said, to get a bit more movement speed and also like cover resistances and get enough spell suppression. And I am running Hatred and Grace, and this is also Eldritch Battery now. And yeah, like there's nothing else to this build. It just didn't really perform well. It was so unfun. It's just like literally unfun is, I guess unfun is the best word to describe. It's just unfun playing with this skill. And I was hyped when they first revealed the Blade Trap of Greatswords. I was like, ooh, wow, Void Forge that, Rakiata's dance, that's cool. 8-second cooldown, boo, bad. If you were thinking of Blade Trap of Greatswords, don't. You're not gonna like it, I can guarantee you that. Even if you invest everything into cooldown, which you probably don't want because that kind of disables Mageblood. You want belt with cooldown, you want boots with cooldown, maybe even with the awakened mod, which would be expensive, and your cooldown would still not be great. You would still be above 2-second cooldown. I believe you could get like 65% CDR, would still be like 2.5 second cool, is this? Yeah, 2.5 second cooldown. It's still way too high. If the skill was like 6-second cooldown base, maybe 5-second, it would be much easier to drop like to below 2-second, and it would feel much better. Or we just need extra different traps. In the current state, I would say stay away from Blade Trap of Greatswords. It's not worth doing. I'm gonna leave path for building import code in the description. I already have the next build, and the next build is kind of done already because I refined my Necromancer. So tomorrow I should post a video about Animate Guardian of Smiting, which actually performed pretty well. The build is, like I said, kind of done, so all I need to do is just do a couple more Guardians, maybe attempt tier 17, and that's gonna be pretty much it for that build. It's not an expensive build as well, and it did perform pretty well. So yeah, if you don't want to miss that, be sure to subscribe, and for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow, I guess. Bye bye.